Sketchbook Flip. But first off, before I actually start, I would like to apologize for a possible beeping in the background. It's my fire alarm. It's currently running out of batteries, and we just ran out of D batteries. So we're just gonna have to power through this. But anyhow, this is my first video on this channel. Woo! I actually had to make a new channel because my last channel got copyright strikes because I played music in my speed paints. And I like those speed paints, so I didn't take them down. Whoops. But yeah. About the sketchbook itself, I believe the sketchbook is made by Watson Gupta, and I bought it at a local bookstore. At the time that I bought the sketchbook, I believe it cost about $16, $17. So prices may have changed since then, and plus I bought the sketchbook back when I was in high school, like 10th grade. And I just finished the sketchbook just a few weeks ago, and I'm in college currently. Yeah, I know it's a long time, but I've been working on smaller sketchbooks, and this is my first quote-unquote big sketchbook that I've completed. Like, the size of the sketchbook is 8.5 by 11 inches, and all the other sketchbooks that I've worked in before and completed were 5 by 8 or smaller. And this is also the first sketchbook that I've completed with a hardbound binding, like an actual book, because all the other sketchbooks that I've worked in had a spiral bound. And honestly, I really like the hardbound binding because I can go across the sketchbook with like a spread with ease, and you don't have that stupid spiral in the way. On the other hand, if you've noticed in the first half of the sketchbook, I wasted a whole lot of paper, and you see me, like, I don't go, like, even though I draw with pen, I don't go behind the page. And that's because I've kept the sketchbook since high school, and throughout the years that I've had the sketchbook, I've tried to force myself to use the sketchbook. But it was honestly such a hassle because it was huge and it took up a lot of space in my backpack. And plus, if you pulled it out in class, you were for sure drawing. Like, you couldn't slyly put it in the corner of your desk while you're writing down your notes and doodle in it between slides. And, be all, secretive about it. So, at the time, the smaller spiral-bound sketchbooks were ideal. But now, because I'm in college and I'm studying graphic design, I need something slightly more sturdy and not as flimsy as the spiral-bound sketchbooks, because I have worked with spiral-bound sketchbooks a lot, and no matter what, I will find a way to undo the spiral that holds all the papers together. And those paper covers on the spiral-bound sketchbooks do not last by the time I'm finished with the sketchbook. So now I guess I have to admit I really enjoy big hardbound sketchbooks because I can also lay my hand on the sketchbook, and it provides that I don't know how to say it, but it's like the word escapes me, but it's stability. Yes, that's the word. And yeah, I just really like the hardbound sketchbooks now. So I just recently bought this one. I think it has 110 pages. I'm hoping to complete it next year. But anyhow, I just really like hardbound sketchbooks now. If you noticed, there's been blue post-it notes stating what grade and what year I was in. And that's because I've mentioned before that I tried to force myself to use the sketchbook because I had this mentality that I spent so much on something and then I don't even use it. Like, what's the point of even buying the thing if I don't even utilize it? So during the years, I would try to guilt myself into using it because at the time I had this sketchbook. I had like 6 sketchbooks that I started, but I hadn't completed any of them. And now I currently have about, I would say, 2 sketchbooks that I'm working on. But anyways, 6 sketchbooks at the time that I would constantly like switch around. And this huge 8.5 by 11 sketchbook was one of them. Because I spent like more than $5 on sketchbooks. So like all the sketchbooks that I had were pretty much, I spent a lot of money on. And personally, I think now looking back, it's ridiculous because unless if the paper is special, like it's toned or you do mixed media on it, it's totally worth it. But this sketchbook costs like $15 plus, like US dollars, and it can't even take charcoal properly. It's horrible with alcohol-based markers because they bleed like a mofo. And the paper pills when you want to use watercolor. Like, honestly, the only other like medium that you can even use in this sketchbook that it could take strenuous amounts of was ink and graphite. And the ink can't even be like alcohol based or whatever. Now, I actually don't necessarily remember the GSM of the sketchbook paper because I threw away the sticker label when I got it. Because usually on sticker labels, they usually state how many pages there are, the company, etc. on hardbound sketchbooks. And I kind of threw it away, which might have helped to why it couldn't take any wet medium besides ink. And I think in this sketchbook, like for the first half of the sketchbook, I used a lot of mechanical pencils. I used a lot of 0.7 mechanical pencils. I used a lot of ballpoints, and a lot of, microns. But I think like in this second half of the sketchbook, I started using a whole lot of Prismacolor color erase pencils in rose and I think carmine red. And I used a lot of the, if you see any ink at all, usually in the second half, where like it state like June 2016, finished first year of college or whatever, like you'll see that blue post-it note come up. And I used like, it was the color brush pen, the Pentel color brush pen in black, and I also use Copic markers in neutral rays and in the pastel set. And there's a mosquito in my room. What the heck? And I just use, I think, regular HB pencil lead for the pencil sketches, if anything, in 0.5. So they aren't too incredibly special. I only have like what, like I would say like 10 markers, 10 Copic markers, so yeah, not a big old range. But yeah. And you'll see like as I get to the second half, I'm not as stiff, I would say. And I take up a lot more space whenever I draw. And I'm not afraid to like easily like abandon something. Well, I mean I easily abandoned stuff in like, the first half of the sketchbook, obviously. But with this one, it was a lot more like I could build off of it. It was a lot more looser, kind of like, oh, I did that on purpose sort of thing. And yeah, so, and I also did, I think like in the second half of the sketchbook, I learned how to properly thumbnail a lot better. And if you don't know what thumbnailing is, it's pretty much where you make like these little tiny panels, and you can make them like if you need them to be colored. Like let's say you like to try out different color schemes, but you don't want to like necessarily color on the same sketch, like sketch after sketch after sketch. Like that's so much work that you are doing for for a project. So just like make a tiny sketch of it and then just duplicate it and then just color it in. on like, you know, like using like your markers or using, you know, a digital drawing program on your computer. But for me, like thumbnailing was more ideal for sketching out ideas because I had so many ideas, but I didn't know which idea I would probably go with. And I think you'll see it's coming up, or we already passed it. I don't know. You'll see like, you know, a bunch of like thumbnails for like quote unquote movie posters, and because I actually have to do a movie poster for my class, and it can be like of a fake movie, of a real movie, and I decided to do mine on the fan art of Hellboy. Wow, I was gonna say Fallout Boy because I'm an edgelord. You can't see me right now, but I'm doing finger guns, and so yeah. I don't think I'll have that speed paint up of like me drawing out the Hellboy poster until like maybe like the end of like December, simply because it's a really big project, and I have a bunch of other videos coming up for next weekend or so. So, you know, I have a what's in my bag drawing meme video coming up, so I'm excited about that. And I think I had like a bunch of there's another idea that I was going to be doing, or no, I was going to do the fall favorites. Fall favorites is next week, and then after that it's the what's in my bag speed paint, and I talk about how I literally am a pack rat and I just stuff all of the things in my bag. I have like band-aids and a laptop and all of these probably 100% unnecessary stuff, but I carried it anyways because I'm the mom friend in the group, and I only have like 2 friends. I'm just joking. Maybe. I think like we're nearing towards the end of the sketchbook, and my final thoughts on it is that I'm pretty proud of it, and so much so that I'm happy to post it on the internet, because all of my other sketchbooks were so plain and they look so boring and they look so bland. And I think like this sketchbook was one where like I kind of drew stuff that I really liked, you know, just drew myself, like full of memes and my feelings and all that other icky, gooey, nonsensical stuff that I don't really like to deal with sometimes. And I learned to really let loose, and I think, you know, you should, like, I wish, like, early on I learned how to kind of let loose in my sketchbook and to really make, like, the bond in my sketchbook, like, really personal, because, you know, it's all about getting personal in the artist's mind, you know? But, yeah, honestly, I actually have I have, like, a couple of seconds or so to just talk about stuff. I don't know what to talk about. Anyways, this is the end of my sketchbook or so. If you like the video, please give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Till next time, bye bye!